Hello, I'm Richard Gisbert, and you're at The Listening Post. This week, Hamas wins the battle on the streets of Gaza, but has it lost the war for the hearts and minds of the Arab media? Out of Africa, the reporters who have to travel thousands of miles to cover the case of war crimes alleged to have happened in their own backyard. And will that be a PC or a Mac, the internet spoof that shames both sides? Welcome back to The Listening Post. We start this week with the power struggle in Gaza and the consequences of that battle as played out on television screens across the Middle East. As Hamas tightened its grip on Gaza, the media fallout, driven by those gruesome images of one group of Palestinians fighting another, has created a level of criticism in the Arab media that Hamas has never experienced before. That's our starting point this week, the backlash across the Middle East and what Hamas is doing through a media counteroffensive to repair the damage to its image. Images beamed out of the occupied territories, fighting in the streets of Gaza, Hamas mobs dragging Fatah members away, some of them to their deaths. Masked men at the microphone. This is how Dubai TV reported it.
Amidst the rival parties' media wars, the reckless bullets, and the contradictory news, lost are the voices of the citizens in search for the good of the public.
In every modern conflict, the media are used as a weapon. This one is no different. Mohammed Abu Ruman is a columnist for El Rad, a Jordanian paper not considered overly hostile to Islamists.
The Arab public did not expect from members and the supporters of the Hamas movement what they saw on the satellite channels. They were shocked when they saw Hamas lowering the Palestinian flag and raising the Hamas flag instead. People were horrified when they saw the pictures of Samih al-Madhoun, a Fatah leader, being abused, tortured, then killed. This is the first time Hamas has lost a media battle in front of the Arab public. Previously, it used to conduct its media battles with great success.
Abu Ruman is not the only one who says the coverage of the Gaza fighting has dealt Hamas a setback.
It had lost the battle for the pictures. The pictures coming out of Gaza has done a lot of harm to Hamas' image. It tarnished its image in the Arab world as well as internationally. When you see Hamas people parading captive Fatah prisoners walking semi-naked in the streets, that reminds the people of the behavior of the Israeli troops against Palestinians. That was not acceptable.
This was not what journalists call a one-day wonder. The images took on a life of their own on TV and the internet. And Arab governments who fear Islamic movements like Hamas and consider them a threat to their hold on power saw an opportunity and used the TV channels they control to exploit it.
I think the official Arab media used this footage very well and tried to tie the images to what was happening in Iraq in terms of killing and massacres, and present a message to the Arab viewer that this is what you get from Islamic movements: killing, slaughter, and destruction. There's a hidden agenda to these movements. It's about the seizure of power, whatever the cost.
لهذه الحركات هذه الأجندة هي السلطة والوصول إلى السلطة مهما كان الثمن.
Palestinian newspapers operating under Fatah's authority put that argument forward. A columnist at Al-Hayat al-Jadida suggested the Islamic project to replace the Arab regimes is being buried in Gaza. The infighting is a lesson that any Islamist endeavor to reach power is bound to end in savage fighting. The Lebanese daily Al-Safir said, Palestine has collapsed in a pool of its own blood, and the only ones to blame are those who promised to liberate it. The Fedayeen have become the murderers of their own comrades in arms. A different view, more sympathetic to Hamas, appeared in independent papers like the London-based Al-Quds Al-Arabi. It argued that the world, which imposed a blockade on the Palestinians and refused to acknowledge the results of their elections, should be held mainly responsible for what is going on. It should have given Hamas a chance to govern, but it did not. One of the ways Hamas fought back was over sites it controls on the internet, such as one called The Voice of Palestine. It directed visitors to videos like this one that show Fatah security men, when they were in control, torturing Hamas members. The message: in this power struggle, Fatah is not just a victim. Hamas has taken control of Gaza, but the organization has taken a hit to its reputation. The question now is, can it recover?
In the short term, the impact of these pictures is huge. The Arab public in many countries appears to be extremely disturbed, and it has caused division amongst Hamas supporters. But in the long term, the issue is linked to actual developments in Gaza itself. There's a massive anti-American feeling in the region, so the movement is playing on that through the media.
In this particular instance, Hamas has lost the battle of the images, of the pictures, and it has tarnished its reputation as an uncorrupt, clean, and a liberation movement. The military battles take place in a defined geographical location. You have some people get killed, you have some buildings destroyed, and that is it. Whereas the media battle enters every house, every place where there is a TV screen. So the media battle has an impact on millions of people. So you can't underestimate the power of the media.
Our Global Village voices now on how they see the Gaza story.
I think Hamas internally did a very good job of controlling the media. They started shutting down one Fatah radio station after another, then they went after the websites, until the Palestine TV, which is a Fatah controlled satellite station, was shut down by Hamas, and Hamas had complete control over the information that Gazans were receiving during the actual military takeover.
Hamas officials are very educated, very smart. They know how to handle the media. I don't think they have influenced the media in a negative way.
The media coverage of the Hamas Gaza takeover focused on the violent aspects, and by focusing on this, they neglected to provide important context for the events. The media would have been more fair had they indicated that the violence, at least in part, was a result of 18 months of boycott by the international community. Boycott which effectively starved and divided the Palestinian people.
If you have an opinion on global media and are looking for a place to be heard, we're looking for more Global Village voices. Email us at listeningpost@aljazeera.net, because talking through your webcam is much healthier for you than screaming at your television. Time now for Listening Post News Bites. A radical senior Muslim cleric has issued a fatwa against the editor and publisher of the Pakistani fashion magazine, Octane. The June edition of the magazine ran an advertisement depicting two scantily clad models as Adam and Eve, which the cleric claimed was blasphemous. Pakistani authorities banned the offending issue, and police lodged separate charges against Octane for publishing obscene pictures. The magazine's editor said he intended no offense to Islam and added that the ad had already run in other magazines. Two Ethiopian editors could face the death penalty after they were found guilty of outrages against the constitutional order and inciting revolt by the country's high court. The charges against the editors of Ethiop and Abe are linked to their coverage of the 2005 elections and protests over alleged vote rigging. The verdicts are part of a wider government crackdown on the media. Two other newspaper editors are also awaiting sentences for their reporting of the election scandal, and 3 press groups face heavy fines or immediate closure on similar charges. O.J. Simpson's book, If I Did It, has been leaked in its entirety on the internet. In the book, the former American football star, found not guilty of killing his ex-wife in 1995, puts forward an imagined version of the murder with himself in the role of the killer. Originally scheduled to be released last November, but cancelled after a public outcry, all the copies of the book, bar one belonging to News Corp, were supposed to have been destroyed. However, since then, surviving copies of the book have cropped up on eBay. Simpson has denied any responsibility for the leak. Bringing a whole new meaning to the phrase Secret Service, French government officials have been ordered not to use BlackBerries amid fears that they could pose a national security risk. French intelligence is worried that the emails could be hacked into via US and UK-based servers. But some French officials apparently refuse to give up their BlackBerries, and they're continuing to type away on the gadgets in secret.
I haven't thrown that. There she is. Oh,
look at that strut.
So sweet. Oh.
The celebrity story of the year, the release from prison of the American heiress Paris Hilton, got wall-to-wall coverage in U.S. media this past week. However, that was more than one newsreader could take.
But I have an apology as well, and that is for our lead story.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah, I didn't choose it.
Jake.
No, I hate this story, and I don't think it should be our lead.
I hope you're dead.
MSNBC anchor Mika Brzezinski refused to read the Hilton story on the network's morning show. During the next news block,
I want to lead with the Paris Hilton story. What's happening with Paris?
Brzezinski boycotted the story again. This time, she tried to burn the script.
Hold on a second. I'm going to make a point.
Lord.
We're not covering this, all right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm done with the Paris Hilton story.
That's what she thought.
I'm about to snap.
A little later, there it was again, in the news script.
Story. They were leading with it again.
Were they really?
I'm shredded.
Symbolic gesture number 3.
Symbolic gesture number 3.
This is my Paris Hilton lead story.
Oh, what a statement.
That is
a statement about the state of journalism in our country.
You have changed the world, Mika Brzezinski. How can you give us...
At least my world.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing the story.
Coming up after the break, the African news media hit the road to cover the war crimes trial of the former Liberian president, Charles Taylor.